Hey everybody, this is Lions Den with some news and commentary. We got some breaking news out of the city of Chicago. There's been an anti-violent protest rally is underway right now. I'm going to play continued coverage of this rally, and I'm going to go ahead and give you the rest of my commentary.
Dan Ryan, the full Dan Ryan, and now successfully making their way off of it again at 67th Street.
Right. There was a standoff to make this happen. It happened. The protesters only moved 4 blocks in the first hour and 15 minutes because they wanted to close down the Dan Ryan. They did just that. Now we're sitting here at 12:10. They're starting to make their way off the Dan Ryan Expressway. Clearly, as Diane was explaining earlier, there was a mood here that they did it. They didn't just go to shut down 2 lanes of the Dan Ryan Expressway. That was not their mission. Their mission was to shut it down, and that's exactly what they did at 11:32.
And as we take a live look from the ground there at the end, and as we see all of these folks coming through, you see people with their signs, "Stop this senseless violence, Black Lives Matter." You see people holding pictures of the young people that they have lost in their lives, the ones they want to remember, the ones they've lost to violence. And that is why they are out here today. Many of the people that Diane Pathew on the ground has spoke with, and Evelyn Holmes has spoke with earlier today as people were loading up on buses at St. Sabina being bused to 79th and the Dan Ryan. Many of those people have been saying that they are there to protest the violence that has come to be so common in some areas of our city on the south and west side. That is why many of these people are there. They're there for economic opportunity on the south and east side of the city. Father Pfleger calling for common sense gun laws, for safety in those communities, for economic development there. The mayor and Superintendent Eddie Johnson later in the week finally expressing support for this march. And as you can see, marchers here, I would probably say, would count this as a success here.
This is exactly what they wanted to do. They succeeded in shutting down the Dan Ryan Expressway and making sure that all of you heard why they're protesting and what their plan is next. This is just the beginning for Father Michael Pfleger. He said next they have to have some follow-up, that there has to be concrete change. And this is his way of making sure that those out there, the mayor, the governor, other candidates who are running for those exact offices are paying attention. A live look right here, you could tell that they're starting to make their way off the expressway too. This has been in the making now for more than 2 hours. And some of these people have been on their feet for more than that too, because they were bussed over to the starting point, starting at 9:15 this morning. Has to be a physical challenge for some of these folks. And given that, keeping that in mind, Chicago police have set up different exit points where there are officers. There are also paramedics at the locations, different locations, to make sure that this does remain a peaceful march and that everyone is taken care of too, especially since they've been out now for nearly, some of them, 3 hours out there, standing, waiting, and then standing some more, and now walking along the route and getting off the expressway. Chicago police just tweeting out a short time ago as well that all protesters must exit right here at this location, 67th Street. They want to make sure that this is where the protest ends. And it looks like up to this point, all these protesters and demonstrators, they had their way on the Dan Ryan Expressway, and now they're following the direction to go ahead and get on off.
Yeah,
that is exactly what Father Pfleger wanted them to do, too.
Yes, he had the plan. It was always from 79th to 67th, and here we are at 67th Street. And you see the Dan Ryan Expressway there still massively blocked off by Illinois Department of Transportation vehicles and police bike blockades there as well, and you can see all of those protesters from the ground. This is a shot at the end. This is a shot as these protesters are walking at the end through the off ramp at 67th Street, and a feeling of jubilation and people celebrating and people happy at the end because they got what they originally wanted, which was to shut down the Dan Ryan Expressway and to bring a massive amount of attention to the cause that they are marching for, which is the south and west sides of Chicago, to reduce violence in those areas, for more economic development, for potentially a person that the city and state work with to make a full-time job of asking and going out for economic development.